This is the Hub on Hollywood. I'm James. Jamie is not here, but we still love movies. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. We have a lot of stuff to talk about in a very short amount of time, so we're going to get right to it. But first, if you haven't followed us on Instagram or on Twitter, please do so. We are at Hub on Hollywood. Hub on Hollywood is also on Facebook, so please give us a like. If you're watching us on YouTube, did you know that we can also be listened to on every major streaming service? Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple iTunes, and vice versa. If you're listening to us but want to watch the video version, we are on YouTube. Please give us a like, a subscribe, and a share. It really does help the podcast out a lot. On this week's episode, we are talking about, of course, Star Wars, but the return of the Clone Wars, the animated series, coming back to Disney+. What does that mean for Disney? What does it mean for the rest of us Star Wars fans? We'll be getting into that. Also, Trump versus Parasite. The president's having a few critical words about the Oscars' Best Picture this year. Apparently, not a very big fan. We will be talking about that. And we are going into the weekend box office where it's going to be a showdown between a hedgehog and a dog. Who's going to win? I'm putting my money on the hedgehog. But first, we're talking about local casting calls, and we have quite a few interesting ones. Now, first off, this casting call, this is for CP Casting. We're looking for non-union men and women for extra work in a TV spot. CP Casting looking for people between 35 and 60 years old. Filming's taking place in Chelsea on March 5th. The TV show shoots from 8:30 in the morning to 1:30 in the afternoon. People who apply and get selected should be dressing up in business casual. They've described it as suburban people representing high-end shoppers, home contractors, interior designers, similar things along those lines. This is a paid gig, and so if you are interested or know anyone who might be interested, they should be sending their description, their information to cpcastingsubmission@gmail.com. That is cpcastingsubmission@gmail.com. Meanwhile, Boston Casting trying to cast twins and triplets for a TV series. Now, we're looking for Caucasian babies, those white babies out there from 1 month to 8 months old. So if you happen to have twins or triplets or know anyone who has twins or triplets, their parents or yourself, you should be sending photos, birth dates, contact information to bostoncasting@gmail.com. That's bostoncasting@gmail.com. And you don't really hear too many casting calls for twins or triplets, so that's pretty exciting. Lastly, also Boston Casting, we're looking for tricked-out tailgate cars. Now, this is going to be a part of the this ongoing big Disney feature film that's been filming in and around of Boston, the sequel to Disney's last live-action movie, Cinderella. This one, Godmother or Godmothered, under the working title FRILLS. But they are looking for tricked-out tailgate cars. They are shooting on February 25th, 26th, 27th, and this is happening in the greater Boston area. Now, they are looking for cars, anything that you can imagine happening or looking appropriate at a sports venue. They're looking for tailgate gear along with, what other tailgate stuff? You have grills, you have, lawn chairs, you have games, you have that board with the hacky sack. I don't know what it is, but you throw it into the holes. Anything like that can't hurt. If you have anything along those lines, you can go ahead and contact or send an email to bostoncastingfrills@gmail.com. That's bostoncasting, FRILLS, @gmail.com. Ooh, a lot of casting calls. None of those that I can apply for. But hey, maybe you can. So get your big break out there. We are transitioning into entertainment news, this time also being Star Wars news. Now, though the movies have been slowed down, the production and the timeline of all these movies that Disney really wants to pump out, they are putting the brakes on that. However, we are coming back with the animated series Star Wars: The Clone Wars this time coming back on Disney Plus. Now, this is the 7th season and the final season, picking up where we left off after a 6-year hiatus, if you want to call it a hiatus. Now, according to AV Club, we find our Republic heroes trying to hold off an assault on the planet of Annexus by the Separatists. But for some reason, every tactic they use is immediately figured out and countered. The first episode starts out with Mace Windu, Anakin Skywalker, talking about plans with some of the original clone members or clone troopers that we are really familiar with, Rex, Cody. But we're also introduced to a new batch, a Bad Batch. They're actually called the Bad Batch. And it's a group of genetically modified, enhanced clones with these specific abilities that enhance their combat skills. Now, the Bad Batch from AV Club, according to AV Club, is believed to be erratic, chaotic, undisciplined, but they get the job done. And the initial reviews are looking pretty good right now, with the tone being called fun, the new additions creating an off-kilter dynamic, and this could lead to some interesting developments down the road. Now, one thing I love about the Clone Wars series is we get so much more than what we got in the films, and that's unfortunate that many of the things that we were hoping to see in the movies, especially the prequels, we didn't get to see. But with the Clone Wars, we get a longer timeline, and so we actually see characters develop and their arc grow. In particular, really talking about Anakin Skywalker and his relationship with Obi-Wan Kenobi. I found in the prequels, there wasn't really much motivation or character given to Anakin, and it didn't really, at least from my perspective, it didn't really show what really pushed Anakin over the edge. Excuse me. I feel like that Anakin's turn to the dark side, though it was, I think, adequately covered in the prequel movies, I don't think it was. I don't think the arc or his transition was justified to the extreme that we've seen him. Obviously, Anakin turning from the light side to the dark side, turning into Darth Vader. But over the Clone Wars series, we've been able to see glimpses of Anakin's hatred and anger seeping in and seeping out as he both, walks that fine line of balancing the light and the dark side. And that's one thing I love the most about the Clone Wars. Not only do we get more of what we missed out in the movies, but we also get more characters. We get a lot of new characters that have really become really big fan favorites, including Ahsoka Tano. She's one of the first characters that we were introduced to in the Clone Wars, who a lot of people hated. But as the series continued, you saw her arc, her character growth. And now she's become one of the most popular characters in the Star Wars universe. She hasn't made the jump to the big screen in live action, but in the animated series of Clone Wars, she's a favorite. I'm really excited to see more of this because where we left off, Ahsoka, she left the Jedi Order and she's been on her own. And so we're gonna see where she's been, where she's going, and how this transitions into what we saw going into the rise or the return of the Sith, Revenge of the Sith rather. And so the Clone Wars coming back today. I'm not sure. I believe if Disney Plus, I haven't checked it yet, but I'm sure if Disney Plus, if The Mandalorian is anything like the Clone Wars, then they're going to be releasing new episodes every week. And so, which I think is a good thing, because even though most of us like to binge and get all our episodes done in one sitting, I think it also helps build, the discussion, the community around Star Wars, more so with a week-by-week release. So I'm really looking forward to that. Now, this is the final season. Am I okay with that? I'm very okay with that. I think the previous seasons 1 through 6 did a great job in laying down the framework or the groundwork for what we saw in Return or Revenge of the Sith. And with this being the final season, it just seems appropriate to try to kind of put a period, an exclamation point on this series and all the characters that we've been following. So this is obviously good for Disney Disney and Disney Plus, after The Mandalorian and the hype and the craze that we all experienced together, after The Mandalorian finished with season 1, everybody's kind of like, okay, what else do we watch on Disney Plus? Of course, there are the Disney classic movies that we have all grown up loving. However, at a certain point, we'd want new content, and for a while, Disney Plus wasn't providing that. We know The Mandalorian Season 2 is expected to come out in October, but that's a long time between now and October. And so by bringing back Star Wars in this week-by-week basis, it feeds the hunger that us Star Wars fans have. And it keeps people excited for Disney Plus. Again, we weren't expecting many more things to start popping up, many new things to be popping up on Disney Plus until really the end of this year or the beginning of next year. But with the Clone Wars coming back for this season, it only helps Disney Plus, helps Disney, and we should help out that mom and pop company because who knows where they would be without our support. Now, I think that's all the Clone Wars news we can get. I'll be watching it, so maybe we may be talking about it if Jamie wants to talk about it, if she's catching up on it. But until then, we'll just put a little pin in that note. We're moving on to Trump versus Parasite. So apparently the president's not a big fan of the South Korean film that won Best Picture this year at the Oscars. According to the Associated Press, President Donald Trump is apparently not a fan of Parasite, the biggest complaint being that the movie was made in South Korea. Trump started talking about the Academy Awards during a campaign rally in Colorado Springs, Colorado on Thursday. Parasite was named Best Picture, becoming the first non-English language film to get the top honor. Now, Trump faulted the Academy's decision for the South Korean film, asking, "What's all that about?" Parasite's U.S. distributor shot back on Twitter, suggesting Trump would have trouble reading the subtitles. So a jab at the president for taking a jab at the Best Picture of the year. Now, is there anything wrong with a movie not made in the United States winning Best Picture, Best Film of the Year at the Oscars? Absolutely not. I don't think so at all. If anything, this helps just the film industry, the worldwide film industry in general, because I think this brings to light or attention all these other foreign films that are produced and made every year. A lot of them, I'm sure, for obvious reasons, they are great products that are put out there, but they just don't garner the enough international attention, especially here in the United States. But Parasite was winning so many awards internationally. It was like a bulldozer coming through the award season with so much great criticism, a critically acclaimed movie. And this was different because, as we mentioned, the movie was completely everyone was speaking South Korean native language, and it was subtitles. But even though this was in a foreign language, the movie and the message and the characters, they still came across and resonated well with the audience, and it resonated well with myself. So if anything, I think the win by Parasite just proves, maybe doesn't prove, but it does show that, you know what, awards, even though you may hate them or love them, they're still very impactful. And after winning the Oscar for Best Film, Parasite, the movie was released into more theaters nationally in the United States. And so, obviously, not only is that great for the movie Parasite, but it's also great for other directors around the world who maybe feel overshadowed or outperformed by other movies that get all the national attention. But now they may actually have a shot of producing a movie with their heart and soul put into it, and it may actually get recognized on an international scale. So I think it's a good thing. Yeah, I'm not sure what the president was thinking. Again, he's at a rally. He's trying to rile up his base. And, of course, he talked about South Korea and trade. And I think that was the angle he was trying to get to, trying to show that he is working with South Korea, or South Korea is still creating problems, even though they're trying to come up with this trade deal. I don't think he really has a strong opinion, honestly. I think he just may have been going off the cuff. And but one thing I would say is after the president leaves office, I would not be opposed to seeing Trump review other movies or give his thoughts on other movies. I think that may be the most appropriate thing to watch. So thank you so much for tuning into this week's Hub on Hollywood. Once again, if you are not following us on Twitter or on Instagram, please do so. We are on or at Hub on Hollywood. Please give us a like, give us a share. We are also on Facebook, and we are also on YouTube. So please subscribe, hit that like button, hit that share button. It really does help out. And if you are watching us on YouTube, you can also catch us on the go by listening to us on any major streaming platform for podcasts. Wherever you listen to podcasts, you'll find us. We'll be there. Well, this weekend's box office is going to be a showdown between a hedgehog and a dog, as I mentioned before. I'm talking about Sonic going up against the new film, The Call of the Wild, starring Harrison Ford. Now, you're probably thinking, you know what, a new Harrison Ford movie? Whatever is opening up against that is not gonna do well. Harrison Ford, he's the man. He demands the attention, the glory, the money. But no, he's going up against Sonic, which opened surprisingly well, way better than expectations, and it's expected to have another great weekend in its second weekend since being released. Now, this is not expected to be really a tough competition for Sonic. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Sonic is projected to shoot past the $100 million mark this weekend. As for Harrison Ford and his CGI dog friend, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, that movie's tracking to open in the mid-teen millions or higher. This is the latest adaptation of Jack London's 1903 classic. The novel follows a warm-hearted prospector and a dog named Buck, a CGI dog named Buck, who bond during the Yukon Gold Rush. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or the CGI dog in the room. I think the biggest obstacle that this movie faces is the reaction to one of the two main characters, and that being, of course, the dog, completely made out of CGI. Now, my first time watching the trailer in theaters, I honestly wanted to laugh out loud with how bad the CGI looked, and before I go any further, I don't want to knock CGI artists, graphic artists, or designers. They do a lot of hard work, a lot of amazing work, and a lot of the CGI that you don't notice, that usually obviously goes unnoticed and their praise is not given. But there's a lot of CGI that goes into movies nowadays, and a lot of it's so subtle and so well done that you don't even realize that it's fake or it's made out of CGI. But when we do get the instances where it just doesn't look good on paper or literally on the big screen, that's when the criticism comes out. And unfortunately, again, I don't want to blame the CGI artists. If anything, this may be a movie, an executive producer, creator issue. But I don't know why they didn't use a real dog. Again, the movie's coming out this weekend, coming out today. It isn't made. I mean, I should say that I'm not the target audience for this. It's more of a child's movie. But again, I don't know why they went with the CGI dog instead of using a real dog. You can make dogs. You can train dogs to do very cool, specific things that we've seen countless movies already do with dogs. I don't know why they didn't do that here. It just seeing Harrison Ford talking to a CGI dog in front of during some scenes that look like it's just done in front of a green screen. I don't know. I mean, Harrison Ford, he's a great actor, of course, and he doesn't always pick the right movies to be in. I think this may be one of those movies that I'm not sure if it was the paycheck that sounded good or the story or if he really loves the novel. But yeah, I'm not sure how well this movie is going to do. Again, going up against Sonic. Now, many people weren't expecting Sonic to have the success that it had this past week over the Valentine's Day, Memorial Day weekend, but it did it exceedingly well, and the reviews are mostly good. Most people really enjoy the movie and really enjoy the character Sonic, the way he looks, the way the actor who plays him, and Ben Schwartz, who's a fantastic actor. And so I think Sonic has it in the bag, is gonna gain more gold rings, maybe some of that gold change, that gold coin this weekend, beating The Call of the Wild. Haven't seen Sonic yet, not sure if I will. Maybe I should if it's good. I don't know. It came out during Valentine's Day weekend. I'm not sure if it's a very romantic style movie, but it's a good, carefree, lighthearted movie. Jim Carrey also getting great reviews for his portrayal of, I forget the character's name, but the evil Round in the later version, rounder, fatter version. But Dr. What's his name? I was going to say Dr. Magatu, but that's Zoolander. All right, well, yeah, so good luck, Sonic. Good luck, The Call of the Wild. Good luck, Harrison Ford. Good luck, CGI Dog. I'm not sure how long that will be in theaters. Again, I'm not the target audience, so maybe I'm being extra mean. But yeah, not for me. Not digging it. Well, I think those are all the bullet points. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's Hub on Hollywood. It's a little bit of a shorter one, but thank you again, nonetheless, for tuning in. Jamie will be back shortly, I'm sure. She is out with her baby, as she rightfully should be, her newborn baby. And so wishing her the best as well. Tune in next week. Really quick, before we leave, have you seen Sonic? Do you plan on seeing The Call of the Wild? Have you seen Parasite? Do you think the president, his criticism of a South Korean film winning Best Picture at the Oscars is deserved? Let me know. Let me know what you think. I'm James Earlhaus. This was the Hub on Hollywood. Thank you so much for tuning in this week, and we'll catch you next week.